One of the reasons we come to live in the forest is to gain peace and quiet. There'll always be some sounds and changing conditions, the weather, other things. But generally it's peaceful. When you come to stay in the forest, you're away from home. So you think about home less. Think about work less. So it allows your mind to settle down. But at the same time you need to have energy. Because if you're not careful with all this peace and quiet, your mind will wander around, going back to memories and dwelling on things that happened in the past, good and bad, and then planning about the future, short-term future, long-term future. So still we need to make effort to practice, to bring up mindfulness and to watch our minds, to learn. The Buddha was born in the forest, and he was enlightened in the forest under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya. And he spent his life moving around India teaching, living in one forest to another. So he, in his wisdom, obviously valued the peace and quiet of the forest, hillsides, parks, occasionally just an empty building. So our surroundings can help us. But still we have to train the mind, practice. One way they describe the Buddha, they say he perfected the 30 paramis, spiritual perfections. Normally we talk about 10 paramis. So like Dana Barami, Sila Barami, Nekama Barami, Kanti Barami, Viriya Barami, Satya Barami, Adhitthana Barami, Metta Barami, Upekkha Barami. We're all cultivating these qualities through our practice. But the Buddha did it for longer and more thoroughly. On 3 levels. The ordinary level, intermediate level, and then the highest level, what we call Paramatta Barami. So every quality the Buddha had, he really developed very, very thoroughly. So his mind had a certain power to it through all of this training. We're not necessarily on the same level as the Buddha, but we also have to train our minds in these parami. So like Adhitthana Barami, We're learning to make wise resolutions in our practice and to set our mind in the right direction. So we made a adhitthana to keep the 8 precepts over the next few days. That means you have to review your precepts every day, whether you're still keeping them. Maybe staying in the forest, you're tempted to kill a bug that lands on you. But if you have adhitthana, you've determined to keep the precept, then when that intention or desire to kill the insect comes up, you have to discard it. Restrain it, discard it, let it go. If you have adhitthana barami, you'll stick to your precepts very well. And gradually you can let go of these unwholesome, unskillful tendencies of mind. The desire to kill, to steal, commit acts of sexual misconduct, to lie or speak in a malicious way, to drink, take drugs, and then even the more subtle precepts, just give up the intention to eat in the evening, give up the intention to engage in entertainments or sports, music, or to sleep on a comfortable, luxurious bed. That all takes determination of mind. You agree this is what you're going to do, and then you have to stick to it. Or coming to sit meditation. If you make a adhitthana, I'm going to sit meditation for 1 hour without getting up. That will take some effort, because sometimes your mind doesn't want to do it. Would rather go off somewhere else to sleep, walk around, talk to your friend, use your phone, whatever. To complete 1 hour of meditation, you need adhitthana. When we come to meditate, it's not simply about the body, this body just sitting here, sitting for an hour, walking for an hour. We're training the mind, and the body is there to support the mind. But you have to ask yourself, what are you doing as you meditate? And one of the biggest hindrances is sleepiness. And the body is there, and we say, I'm meditating for an hour, but maybe spend most of that hour dozing, drowsy. That could be because we're exhausted, if we're honest, and then perhaps the remedy is simply sleep more. But more likely it's just habit. When you come to meditate, you're shutting off a lot of other activities you're used to. You're not talking, you're not working, you're not moving around. So then your mind doesn't have a lot to stimulate it. So very easy to become drowsy. The goal is to bring up mindfulness, to really focus on your meditation object. The breath in, the breath out. And you'll notice if your effort is strong, your mindfulness is continuous and strong, you really get to know the breath. Breath in, the breath out. You start to become friends with your breathing. You know the beginning of the breath, the middle of the breath. the end of the breath. You know your breath, how subtle or coarse, slow or fast it is. But if you're not careful, then your mind just wanders. And we can spend a whole hour just thinking about many things, but not with mindfulness and not improving anything. And you notice you can be sitting and on the outside it looks like you're meditating, but on the inside you're just remembering something that annoys you. And so you're sitting with anger or irritation perhaps, or you're sitting wanting something, expecting something, thinking about your next meal, thinking about something you want to do or get, and you can spend a whole hour just fantasizing about things you like and want. But we need to come back to the purpose of the practice, remind ourselves, well, what did the Buddha teach us? And the Buddha taught us to recognize craving, tanha, and attachment, upadana, as the cause of becoming, bhava, and then suffering. We often use, or the Buddha used, the word becoming, bhava, as synonymous with suffering. Bhava leads to birth, birth leads to aging, sickness and death. It leads on to all the irritations and pain and suffering of life. But it all begins with craving and attachment. So you have to ask yourself as you meditate for 1 hour, are you becoming aware of craving? Are you letting go of craving? Or are you following your craving and increasing your craving? Craving, the Buddha divided into 3 types. Kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. Kama tanha is sensual craving, sensual desire, which is going on all the time through our day. We have eyes, so we want to see things. We have ears, so we want to listen to things. We have a tongue to taste, a nose to smell, skin to touch. And then the mind itself is remembering past sense pleasures and sense contact, and also imagining future sense contact. So these 6 sense doorways, if we're not careful, constantly become a source of craving. We're always looking for what we want and like, and trying to get rid of what we don't like. So we experience pleasure and pain, or liking and disliking, delight, aversion, all day long. And one meditation session can be full of it. Seems like the body is practicing properly, sitting there straight, but the mind can still be full of craving if we're not careful. Imagining things, worrying about things. It's endless. Craving is like a river that never ends. The Buddha compared it. Nati danha samaniti. The endless river just keeps flowing. It's like a constant flow of desire, wanting, not wanting. It's how our body and mind link to the world. The body is material, inanimate. It's made up of 4 elements. But the mind is that which knows, it's conscious, and the mind uses the body to know things, the eyes, the ears, and so on. And the things we want to know, experience, generally we want pleasurable things. So the mind uses the body as its servant to get more sense experience, driven by kama-tanha. Gradually we create a world for ourselves based on our sensual craving and what we can achieve, what we can attain, and what we want. That world we call bhava-tanha, craving to become, to be a certain way, a certain kind of person, living in a certain kind of world according to our desires. So we're attached to the desire for life itself, and then a life according to our desires. So it's even possible our mind can be so full of desire that it's no longer like the mind of a human. It could be like the mind of an animal or a ghost when the desires become so strong. If we're not careful, we even act in that way. Strong anger, strong greed, strong desire, strong fear. But we can also cultivate the mind to the point where it's in a very refined, peaceful state, like a human or even like a deva. So the body on the outside is one thing, the mind on the inside is another. When we don't get what we want, we react with vipavadana, craving not to become, don't want to be like this, don't want to be without the things that I like. I want to get everything I want, but of course we can't get everything we want, so then we go to craving in the form of not wanting, not liking. Just like when we go shopping, you pick something up, then you decide it's not what you want, you put it down. Whether you're shopping online or in person. Switching between desire and aversion, or liking and disliking. This is going on all day long. Delighting in, averse to. So this is why we come to practice mindfulness. The opposite of craving is the Dhamma of mindfulness, wise reflection. This is the antidote. If we don't develop the antidote, then this craving will constantly make us feel unhappy, discontent, not peaceful. When we cultivate the Dhamma of sati and panya, then the mind becomes more happy in itself. So often we have to practice developing the opposite of what the mind is experiencing. So if you're experiencing craving, like you're annoyed, then you might have to bring up mindfulness and cultivate the Dhamma of metta, goodwill, kindness, tolerance, patience. There's always an opposite quality of the Dhamma that we can develop to counter the discontent or the negativity we're experiencing. But we have to be the one practicing. Where there's confusion, we can develop mindfulness and understanding. Where there's a lack of peace, we can develop the peace of samadhi. Where there's worry, we can develop stillness, and so on. But until we are skilled in it, we have to be very patient and keep putting effort into our practice. That's why we get up in the morning, come and meditate, chanting, listening to the Dhamma. As we're learning to train the mind, to see craving and then abandon, let go of craving. If we don't let go of it, then craving becomes clinging or attachment, upadana. It becomes very firm with a sense of self. So craving is just maybe a thought or an emotion pops up, and then upadana, clinging, is the strong sense of self that forms, and that will be a cause for more craving. Have you ever noticed when you're experiencing some craving and then you realize what you're doing? You often have that feeling like, it's always like this. I keep getting angry, I keep getting worried. That's what we call upadana, clinging, the sense of self. Often it's hardened because we form beliefs and views about ourselves and about the world. And we create a world for ourselves based on our craving when we are not fully aware. As we practice the Dhamma, we're doing the opposite. We're learning not to follow craving, but to be mindful. Craving may arise, but we can also let it go straight away or very quickly. Maybe you've noticed that as well. One day you were angry with yourself, someone else, or just something. You have enough mindfulness to recognize at that moment what's going on, the feeling, the thought. Maybe you realize, oh, this is just craving. It's coming from my own lack of understanding, lack of awareness. It's only leading to suffering. If you can see that, then you let go. Maybe you've already done that sometimes and you know craving can be given up, you can let go of it. But you have to watch and work with your own mind. It won't happen by itself. Sometimes people think if I meditate for an hour, join the retreat, good things will happen. And they can. But we have to practice as well. You sit for an hour, you could increase your craving. You sit for an hour, you can put effort into ending your craving, letting it go. But it's up to you. It doesn't happen by itself. When our mind is not seeing the Dhamma yet, the mind of, we call it, unenlightened individual, patujana, we see everything in terms of a self, a person. So when things are going our way, we say, oh, I'm happy. I'm happy for myself, maybe happy with other people or for other people. Maybe we say, I'm happy because this person made me happy. we're still seeing everything as a self. When we're unhappy, we're sad, we're angry, again, we blame it on other people, sometimes blame it on ourselves. It's all about a self, a person, the happy person, the angry person. When you practice mindfulness, this is changing. You begin to see things more in terms of Dhamma, cause and effect. Craving is not a person. It's a mental state that arises, has its own set of factors, conditions. It can arise, it can cease, it can end. It's not actually a person. Like this human mind doesn't have to have craving in it. If we practice the Dhamma, we can let go of craving, and the Buddha has shown that. Our teachers like Ajahn Chah have shown that. But if we don't practice, then craving tends to be in charge. Greed, anger, delusion take over the mind very easily. And they have power and they have their own way of attracting us, so the mind becomes full of greed, anger, delusion. But it doesn't have to be that way. So the Buddha encouraged us to use what we have. We have this body, this mind, what we call the 5 khandhas. And he suggested we look at these 5 khandhas and see that they're not really a person or a being. It's more a way of separating experience out so that you can see more clearly that what we take as a person, a being, me, myself, is a set of conditions, physical, mental. If we train the mind to look carefully, we can see that more and more. And this is where we can remove stress and suffering from our life. You notice when you're suffering, there's always a strong sense of self. I am suffering. Physical suffering, I'm in pain, I'm hungry, I'm hot, I'm cold. There's always me, mine, myself. Mental suffering, same. I'm thinking too much, I'm worried, I'm sad, I'm annoyed. All the mental suffering we have, it's that sense of me, myself, that's so strong. When we bring up the opposite, the mindfulness, and then some wise reflection, that sense of self starts to weaken, becomes lighter. So the body and mind actually feel lighter when we're mindful. And we can know that, we can experience that for ourselves. When we have more skillful, wholesome thoughts, kusala Dhamma, we feel happier. Sometimes all it takes is you think of the Buddha, or you think of a teacher like Ajahn Chah. Already the mind starts to feel some peace, some happiness, thinking of a very wholesome object. Different qualities like piti, rapture, pamoja, delight, happiness, these arise when the mind thinks of something wholesome, like the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. Your mind changes, your body feels light, the mind feels light. When we follow craving, we tend to create more stress, more suffering, and the whole body and mind process feels more heavy, more uncomfortable. You notice when you're stressed, it's difficult to be with yourself, so you want to escape. And when you're with the Dhamma, you're happy, content. You're not looking to escape. You're just with the present moment and the happiness of the Dhamma, the peace of samadhi, the wisdom that comes from knowing and understanding the Dhamma, the peace, the happiness of sila, not hurting others, not hurting oneself, the qualities that generates, kindness, compassion, all these positive, wholesome qualities bring a sense of fullness and happiness to the mind. As you practice more, you'll notice the difference between kusala Dhamma and akusala Dhamma. Wholesome Dhamma, unwholesome Dhamma. And the mind will incline more to the wholesome Dhammas because you see how good they are. How they make the mind, put the mind in a better state. And the unwholesome Dhammas just make us unhappy. So better to let them go. We practice this on every level when we're practicing dana, helping out, keeping precepts. But particularly now we're meditating, we're learning to really bring up these qualities in our mind. Make them strong, make them clear. It's very difficult to know what other people are feeling at any one moment. But if you study your own mind, your own body and mind, you meditate, bring up mindfulness, you get to know your own mind and body very well. You can see cause and effect, cause and result. You can see the importance of cultivating wholesome states of mind. The good effect on your body, the good effect on your mind as you do this. Then you have less doubts about the benefits of it, and you understand better how to look after your mind. In the beginning of our practice, we don't understand, so our mind seems like it's all over the place, thinking too much, too many moods, negative emotions. Seems like hard work. But if you practice more, you get to know your own mind and you know how to look after it. And the very highest Dhamma and results of the Dhamma are available to us, to everyone. Male, female, young, old, doesn't matter. But it has to come through our own effort. Maybe sometimes you keep meditating, there'll be times when you completely let go of the craving, the attachment. Your mind settles down, becomes one-pointed. The body feels light, the mind feels light. You can sit for a long time. It doesn't bother you. You're not bothered by pain, tiredness, heat, cold, hunger. Your mind is happy within itself. Even if you only experience this occasionally, for short periods, you tend to remember. And it helps you to understand better that the body and mind that we normally experience is quite coarse and full of suffering. But it's also possible to free the mind from suffering and experience peace, happiness, even if only briefly. So you get a lot of confidence from that, and you get energy to keep practicing. Because you realize suffering in the end is your own creation. Your own attachment, your own wrong views, your own lack of understanding. So keep putting effort into your practice, and you might have some clearer states of mind, improved mindfulness, more knowledge and understanding of the Dhamma. Then you realize this mind can be trained. Good things can arise. You have to give it time and be patient, keep practicing. So for the last part of this session, I'll stop talking and we can meditate together till we hear the sound of the bell.